Well, hello and welcome to this week's episode of On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update. I'm your host, Chris Greene, Director of Network Expansion for Avoya Travel. We appreciate your time and your willingness to explore the various options available for a travel professional in 2023. We think we have a great show lined up for you as we feature our amazing Network Enrichment team today. Brenda Potter, Manager of Network Enrichment, returns to the show for a mid-year check-in during our Avoya Insider segment today. Brenda always has practical advice on ways to move the meter, and we look forward to that conversation today. And don't forget, we're going to have details on our new promotion gear to get those who join the Avoya network moving a little faster and a little more efficient right out of the gate. We'll also check on this week's travel headlines with our eye on the industry segment. Some of the stories that we're following include Bahamas raising taxes on cruise passengers. We'll discuss the impacts for travelers. The FAA has finally issued its long-awaited ruling on a second cockpit door on aircraft. And finally, we'll discuss tourism numbers to the U.S. Virgin Islands as information came out this week that has them leading the Caribbean's post-pandemic recovery. All of that here in just a few moments. We'll also touch base on promotions, travel education, elite resources offered to those in the Avoya network, offer up ways to keep in touch with us via social media, and of course, wrap up our show like we always do with our contact information and your calls to action, because we want to spur you to action. We really want you to get involved and get engaged with somebody on the team and have that conversation, see if it's a good fit for you to be a potential affiliate for the Avoya network. That's our sole purpose, right? So we can't wait to hear from you and help you get that process started. So let's kick it off. This week's episode of On Deck with Avoya, your weekly travel update, some industry insights, and our eye on the industry feature. In a story from Travel Weekly, as cruise lines increasingly invest in private islands in the Bahamas, government officials, well, they want their fingers in the pie too. They want to increase the passenger tax. That's reports coming out of the Bahamas. The government's plan entails increasing several taxes. The existing $18 tax per departing cruise passenger would increase to $23 per passenger for those departing from Freeport or Nassau. The country would charge a higher tax, $25 for passengers who only visit a private island without visiting other ports in the Bahamas. The government also seeks to add a $5 per person tourism environmental tax and a $2 per person tourism exchange tax on each passenger. All taxes, but except for the $2 tourism enhancement tax, are expected to go into effect here pretty soon, July 1st. The tourism enhancement tax is expected to go in effect January 1st, going into 2024. The tax plan comes as cruise lines have invested heavily in private island destinations in the Bahamas. Disney Cruise Line, which sails guests to Castaway Cay, is building a new private destination, Lighthouse Point. It's scheduled to open in the summer of 2024. Royal Caribbean International, which has made Perfect Day at Coco Cay a centerpiece of its family-oriented Caribbean strategy, is expanding its beach capacity there in Q4 with the opening of its adults-only Hideaway Beach. The tax increase would nearly triple the government's revenues from departing cruisers in its 2024 budget to $145 million, up from $50 million. The tax discussion comes after the cruise port in Nassau completed the first phase of a $300 million construction project on new berths along with refurbishments and repairs. The project increases daily capacity to 30,000 passengers, up from 20. Certainly, it's a story we're going to continue to follow, but the increases, seem somewhat minimal, right? And I don't think on a per passenger basis, given everything going on in travel, that it's going to impact too many trips. We'll certainly keep our fingers crossed for that. The FAA has issued a final rule requiring all new aircraft flown by U.S. commercial airlines to have a secondary cockpit door. The rule will be in effect for all planes manufactured for delivery to a U.S. airline beginning 2 years from its upcoming publication in the Federal Register. The second door will enable a pilot to close the door to the cockpit before opening a door to the airplane cabin, preventing a hijacker from rushing the cockpit when a pilot steps out to use the lavatory. The regulation has been a priority for the Airline Pilots Association going all the way back to 9/11. The FAA estimates that compliance with the rule will cost as much as $296 million over the next 25 years, up to $505 million over the next 50. The FAA has long been out of compliance with a congressional mandate to address the matter. The 2018 FAA Reauthorization Act directed the FAA to issue an order requiring the secondary cockpit barrier by October 2019. So they're a little late to the party on that one. And finally, in another indicator of the Caribbean destination's strong post-pandemic travel rebound, the U.S. Virgin Islands 2023 visitor arrivals generated an astonishing hotel room occupancy tax collection, a top tourism official said in legislative testimony this week. The USVI hotel room occupancy tax collections have totaled 45.6 million to date so far in fiscal year 2023. That's a 15% increase. And that, according to one of their tourism commissioners, the territory has boasted nearly 295,000 airline passengers during that same period, and said government budget hearings on July 13th that a hotel occupancy rate so far of the year has been right around 75%. In a St. Thomas source article, the person from the government whose name I've lost in here, I apologize, said the rates exceed the regional average by 2%, adding the hotel occupancy tax revenue during this period was the highest ever collected. And you know, government officials certainly love it when there's more money to spend. So time to move the show forward with our weekly and always exciting question and answer segment. Today, we welcome back an old friend for On Deck with Avoya, making, I think, her third appearance on the show now the manager of Network Enrichment, Brenda Potter. We wanted to invite Brenda back because we wanted to highlight the amazing advancements in network enrichment, but also discuss how that resource is ongoing and always able to help those in the Avoya network to grow their business at any phase of that growth. It's a cornerstone resource for Avoya Travel and part of our amazing story on why Avoya Travel is consistently #1, no matter what measuring stick you're using. So please help me in welcoming back to On Deck with Avoya, Brenda Potter, manager of Network Enrichment for Avoya, and this week's Avoya Insider special guest. Brenda, great to have you back on the show again.
It's always a pleasure, so glad to be here.
Brenda, before we get into the interview, can you give us a quick 411 on your backstory? I know we've heard it a couple of times, but for those who missed it, on how you ended up with Avoya Travel and as the manager of Network Enrichment.
Absolutely. So I did start my Avoya journey as an independent agency owner in the network quite a few years ago. And I was eager to join the Network Enrichment team when I was offered that opportunity. So it's been 6 years on the Network Enrichment team, and I've recently become the manager of Network Enrichment in the past year. And I think we have the best team.
Awesome. You do have a pretty amazing team. I love all my friends over there at Network Enrichment. Remind our guests kind of what the overall goal for the department is. I mean, Network Enrichment and how that plays a positive impact for those in the Avoya network.
So the Network Enrichment team has the privilege of introducing the new independent agency owners to our operating system, Agent Power, and updating the entire Avoya Travel network when we have new processes and new features to learn how to use, as Avoya is always innovating as well, because Agent Power is a database, it's a booking engine, it's an accounting system. So you can imagine that we're quite busy keeping all of that available and assisting the network in growing their agencies.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of the brain behind the operation, right? And when you work for a company like Avoya Travel that's very tech forward, there's always going to be a new enhancement that, you have to provide some details on, correct?
Absolutely. It's so hard to keep track of it. And lately, these days, we are just moving at light speed. It's crazy.
Absolutely. So Brenda, here we find ourselves about halfway through 2023 already. And by all accounts, it's been a very busy and exciting year for both Avoya Travel as a company and, of course, for those, the independent agency owners in the Avoya network. Can you give me your perspective on the first half of 2023 through the eyes of Network Enrichment?
Absolutely. So as travel has come back with a vengeance and even exceeded our expectations for sales in 2023, our network has also grown exponentially. And at the same time, the Network Enrichment team has had to grow along with that to keep up with the demands, because we try to balance assisting the new IAs with learning the fundamentals of our system and benefiting from its functions and resources, and assisting the network with any of their Agent Power needs, accuracy and trip records, how to leverage the resources for growth. And so we've been super busy, and that's exciting.
Yeah, busy, busy. I mean, it's certainly the buzzword for the travel industry so far in 2023. What about moving forward, Brenda? Any exciting things you can share with us today when you kind of look at the second half of 2023?
Well, we did have something new to share, and it was like you just queued me up for this. So
Hmm.
yeah, I know.
Like we're on the same team or something.
I know. We have exciting news for new independent agencies that affiliate with Avoya. There, for a limited time, we have a bonus commission incentive offer. And that would be for new independent agencies who qualify for that within the first 30 days of their affiliation. So you mentioned hit the ground running, and this is what we're trying to incentivize you to do. So there's a $50 bonus commission offered, and the full details are provided when the Network Enrichment team welcomes you to the Avoya Travel Network. But some of the requirements are to complete Avoya University, learn how to use our system, be eligible to participate in the optional Avoya Live Leads program, and of course, have a booked live lead with a set of the suppliers that we provide.
So pretty much some no-brainer qualifications. I mean, the whole purpose behind it is to get people to again hit the ground running, and the way to do that is to become proficient in agent power through our Avoya University modules, to get yourself ready for live leads, which again is a backbone and cornerstone resource at Avoya Travel, to reach out to clients and to make a sale. I mean, that all sounds, like it all just makes sense if you ask me.
If you want it and you put in the time and investment to get it, then we're meeting you halfway all the time. We're there.
Absolutely. And my team will be happy to share some details as well when you reach out at avoyanetwork.com. Brenda, we discussed this a lot, but it can never really be said too much, in my opinion. Why is it vital that an agency owner just keep their finger on the pulse of what's happening in the industry in order to achieve their goals?
Well, if you pay attention at all to the travel industry, then you know that it's constantly changing, and today's travelers are more informed. They've done their research. They want you to know more than they know about destinations and suppliers, and they want to establish trust. So that success comes from knowing all those details and truly being an expert, because travelers are going to far-reaching places and exotic places now. We're even planning travel to space. And so there's just so much to always learn about and know. You gotta love growing and learning, right?
Absolutely. I could just hear the client calling in asking an advisor, what excursions are available on that space trip?
I know, right? It's happening though.
I know, yeah, the world is changing in front of our eyes, and Avoya Travel certainly is leading the way that travel is going to be sold, and the way clients and travel advisors and the vendors are able to connect as we continue to move forward. Again, it's one of the advantages that Brenda and I have in working for such a tech-forward company, and that mindset that trickles down from our CEOs, Jeff and Mike Anderson. Brenda Potter is our guest today, manager of network enrichment for Avoya Travel. She's a returning Avoya Insider guest today. Brenda, can we focus a bit on the experienced agent, maybe in fact the top end of that, the high-end experienced agent, and talk a little bit about what kind of ongoing resources are available through network enrichment that might help that level of agency also to continue to achieve the results that they want and demand from their business?
Absolutely. This is a more and more relevant topic these days as we see more experienced agents turning to Avoya. And most often they're surprised at how much is at their fingertips in our system as far as resources and functions. And while being surprised and pleased, it does take time to learn all the new things, but we promise the efficiency of what you receive far exceeds the effort to learn our system. So for an experienced agent, we're going to meet you where you're at. You can get moving in our self-paced online professional development quickly. Our live classes are available for personal assistance to keep things moving. We have additional content on topics like transferring your bookings or creating your customer database, registering with our suppliers. So everything is ready to go and you have access to everything. So nothing needs to slow you down as long as you're communicating with our team and participating in all those opportunities we have.
Wow. So the same buzzwords we use for new to travel actually apply all the way across the board to high end, right? An engaged business owner, not only with their own business, but with the partner that they've chosen to go into business with or to be in business with by being part of the Avoya network leads to agencies that are more successful. Wow, who would have ever put those together, right?
It's the model we're based on, right?
Absolutely. Is it safe to say from your perspective that Avoya resources such as those available through Network Enrichment, and you just kind of touched on this a second ago, but they really can meet an agency no matter where they are in their travel journey, right? Brand new, boom, got you covered. Luxury clients, we've got you covered as well.
Absolutely. Our resources are vast and detailed from budget to luxury brands. And if you have a question, we most likely have a resource at your fingertips to start getting assistance within Agent Power. And if that's not enough, we have a team that helps with continued assistance all the way through from when you're new with Network Enrichment to brand sales, who is an amazing team available as well. And we can answer those questions and provide you those resources. If you're asking the question, though, you need to raise the hand and look for the answer, right?
You do, yeah. I mean, you have to want it. And again, I think that just makes sense. And I think you really touched on an important topic, Brenda, and you used the word teams. You not only talked about your team at Network Enrichment, you talked about the team at Brand Sales. We've got all these amazing teams at Avoya, and that's what sets us apart. That's what changes that ratio of the number of people that directly work for Avoya Travel as employees to the ratio of number of people that are in the Avoya network. And that's why we're such a leader when it comes to that aspect in the travel business, because we don't sell travel. Only those in the Avoya network sell the travel. So it's teams like Brenda, it's teams like Brand Sales, like she mentioned, that really support that. And through that support, we're able to see the elevated sales and end up with a network that has the #1 affiliate per average sales, the #1 per affiliate commission generating. And again, it all circles back to the resources that Brenda's sharing with us today. Brenda, when we last had you on the show, we just had come back from the Avoya conference on the beautiful Celebrity Bliss. And I know you had some important personal things going on in life, but did you make any time for travel or maybe anything exciting that's coming up?
Well, I finally, as of very recently, become that empty nester. So travel is kicking into full gear. So it's coming with Australia for 2 weeks in October with Globus, and then February to Morocco at Club Med, and then hopefully maybe some things in between like Chicago for Christmas and some hiking adventures. But now that I'm free, I'm all set for travel.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because we've had like Mickey McBride and Andy Craig, two of our great employees that are here, and they're just starting that family process, right? So they're going from like having taken vacations as single and like newlyweds to now like their mind focus is changing on the kinds of vacations that they're looking at with a new family. And now you're on the other end of that spectrum, like, oh, I don't have to like put the magic ears on, or I don't have to think like theme park first. I get to think about my needs. That must be a pretty special moment to have.
It is nice. Plus, it's cheaper.
Yeah, amen to that. Absolutely. Brenda, summing up all of your amazing experiences in the travel industry, can you maybe offer us up a couple of practical pieces of advice that would help an agency owner hopefully be more successful in the long run?
Absolutely. And you and I were just discussing this, but this is what I was planning to talk about, which is to be open-minded to new ideas. And that's really twofold, because as we've discussed, being open-minded to new technology, we're always innovating and being ready to move along with that, a new way of doing things. And then also being open-minded to that new conversation with savvy customers and travelers who are also wary of the online pitfalls that are out there these days, and they're looking for someone they can trust. So being open-minded to how to adjust with today's traveler and their needs is really important. And then the other item I would add is to be communicating, because it feels like so much is lost or misunderstood just due to poor communication. So that doesn't just mean with your customer, but with our suppliers and with Avoya, because we want to help. As we've mentioned, we are shared success. And so we want to provide that assistance, but that does require a detailed level of communication and a back and forth and a two-way street, so we can provide the best assistance we have available.
Absolutely. Very well put. One more time before we jump into our last question, Brenda, but remind us again the basics of that new promotion for those that join the network that'll kind of like goose them to get them moving a little faster?
Okay, so just like Chris said, it's pretty plain and simple, and it's completely designed to get you going and moving on through. So we have a limited time bonus commission incentive for new independent agencies who affiliate with Avoya. And it would be a $50 commission to be rewarded to you. All the details are provided once you get welcomed to the Avoya Travel Network. And we're just excited. We're hoping to hand out a lot of these.
I hope so. I know my team is planning on having you have to hand out a lot of these. So that's going to be a big win-win. Okay, Brenda, here it is, the last question of our interview. Any changes in your positive stance on the future of leisure travel since we had you answer this question last year?
Not at all. It seems like travel is a topic on the news all the time. Demand continues to be high, regardless of what's going on outside of travel. And people are still looking to discover and explore. I did want to share a joke with you. I saw a joke recently where artificial intelligence, also in the news a lot, won't be replacing travel advisors anytime soon because they depend on the customer to effectively communicate what they want. And we as travel advisors know it's really left on us to help them communicate what it is they're looking for.
That's so funny. Yeah. It's not going to impact our industry, not in that respect, at least.
Can you imagine? Yeah.
That's funny. That's the funniest way anybody said yes. I think the future of leisure travel is in safe hands. So well done, Brenda. Brenda Potter, everyone, manager of Network Enrichment for Avoya Travel. Brenda, always great to have you on the show, and we always appreciate your great information and that passion you have for helping those in our network.
Thank you.
Next week, we have a special episode of On Deck with Avoya as Steve Hershand, Senior Vice President of Sales for Avoya Travel, returns, but he's going to be checking in live from the 2023 Avoya Land Forum. It just sounds like paradise for him, poor guy. At Dreams Bahia, meet the surf and spa resort in beautiful Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. This amazing event is just another way that Avoya Travel provides elite resources so our affiliates can stay on top of industry trends, create deep and meaningful relationships with the important vendors that are out there, and then just spend time with each other, offering that practical advice that really can allow for those light bulb moments. We'll have Steve on the show next Thursday. We have him on quite a bit, but we really look forward to welcoming him back for this special feature live from our Land Forum. So we just talked about Brenda's promotion, but our other ongoing promotion that we want to remind you of is our military discount. Proud to provide a military discount for veterans and their spouses, those active, those retired, and again, their spouses who've served right along with them. $100 off the affiliation fee. You can reach out at avoyanetwork.com and get that information. My team more than happy to get you qualified for that promotion as well. Also coming up, we want to remind you that Travel Agent Education by Avoya, powered by Avoya, just continues to do great things. This is dynamic and comprehensive travel advisor curriculum. We're talking about 35 to 40 hours of online self-paced lessons. It includes the free membership for CLIA and ASTA. Again, reach out, avoyanetwork.com. We can certainly provide you with more information on that. And it really dovetails into the resources that are offered by Avoya Travel, which are truly best in class and can be life-changing for a travel advisor. Agent Power, which we talked a lot about with Brenda today, overseen by Network Enrichment. The live leads, I mean, no brainer. This is a resource that is unbelievable. Turnkey marketing asset support available 7 days a week. Again, reach out and get involved. And then, of course, follow us on social media, right? Because you don't want to miss out on anything going on. So it's at avoyatravelnetwork.com. You can catch up on the latest On Deck with Avoya if you missed it. You can catch up on the webinar we did yesterday with our friends from Host Agency Reviews, which is posted on the social as well. Just never miss a beat. Again, at Avoya Travel Network on social media. And of course, you can always reach out to me, right? My email, chris.greene@avoyatravel.com. There's the phone number if you want to pick up the phone. Avoyanetwork.com. Start the journey there. Find out a wealth of information. Get connected with somebody on the network expansion team. They're more than happy to discuss our resources, answer your questions, share our story, see if it's a good fit. And together we can make some amazing things happen as we get ready for the back half of 2023. Looking forward to Steve Hershand next week. Thank you again to Brenda Potter for being a great guest today. Thank you to Annabella for producing a wonderful segment today for On Deck with Avoya. Thank you for being part of it. And until next Thursday, take care, everyone.